everyone, Bogdan Smithy here. Went through a real rough patch lately where I didn't feel up to these vlogs. The food delivery stopped and they dropped a note saying something about supply chain problems. Whatever that means. You okay there?
Yeah, feeling great. Nothing broken, I guess. I'm Catherine Sprague Hunter with Search and Rescue.
Looks like you need rescuing yourself. Ironic, isn't it?
Are you one of the miners that have been stranded down here so long?
That's right, Bogdan Smithy at your service. Is your team right behind you?
Actually, I came down here alone. Thought it'd be safer that way. Social distancing, you know. I'm worried about that Omicron variant.
By the looks of the rock slide you rode down, that was a mistake.
No kidding. I don't really know what I'm doing. Just got this job. Remember you radioed me back when I was in the call center? Sorry about that.
Well, would you like a piece of meat? I just cooked some up. Not sure who delivered it, but it was all cut up nicely like this when I woke up from my delirium.
Thanks. I forgot to pack food. Delirium, you said?
Yeah, the food delivery stopped. A week of starvation after the months trapped down here could drive you pretty crazy.
Unique taste. I wonder what this is. Say, where's the other guy? Tom McDonald, wasn't it?
That's the other weird thing. We were both delirious with hunger. We had an argument. Then things got hazy, and I think I slept a long time. When I woke up, Tom was gone, and the meat was here. He must have found some way into another passage.
So, what do you do around here to relax and stay calm?
Our one luxury is an old film projector and a box of reels. Let me show you one. It's called A Missile Named Mac.
If I had a missile, I'd name it Missly McMissleface.
Oh, it looks like this will be a fun cartoon nuclear Armageddon for kids.
Why is there a noose on the launch tower?
North Korean missile. If the launch fails, somebody pays the price.
Bell system? I knew AT&T was evil, but I never knew they went this far.
The nuclear deterrent was critical to maintaining their monopoly.
Named Mac. That's me. The telephone company has asked me to tell you what the people at Bell Telephone Laboratories and the Western Electric Company are doing for our government to guide ballistic missiles like me.
This is all classified information, of course, so I'll have to kill you after.
15,000 miles an hour toward
Is the
targets
huge red
thousands of
fog
miles
enveloping
away.
the Earth a concern to anyone?
All part of the Nuclear Armageddon Deluxe
Target has
package.
always been a problem for us missiles. Take my well, let's just call him my oldest ancestor.
An envelope?
Rocky. Like all missiles, Rocky had to be aimed and controlled before being fired.
Longest nose hairs ever.
Johnny Hart was the film's historical consultant.
Who knew dinosaurs had the courage of
Then along
mice?
came the arrow, which had a bow and string as well as a man to aim and control this miniature missile.
Women are notoriously incapable of aiming.
And that's why the Indians died out, kids.
Later on, the rifle was developed to guide a bullet.
From the
rifle
turban and
barrel
dagger, I
even
guess he's a
controlled the
Sikh.
bullet as long as it was in the barrel. But once the bullet left the barrel, the little lead missile was completely on its own.
Bullets. They may cause anal inflammation.
All of us
Okay, time to nuke
are
that
on our
bird
own
from
after
orbit.
we leave the gun barrel stage of aim and control.
Had the animator even seen a rock?
This rather primitive guidance system had to determine
Can
the
hardly
distance
miss
and
from that
direction to the
distance.
target and just how hard to propel them.
Just wait for that dino to die of that skin disease.
My guidance system has a sort of brain too,
As you can see, this is all green technology.
and radar to keep track of me. This mechanical master of mathematics has to know the exact distance to a target that may be over 6,000 miles
Ascension
away.
Island is a threat which must be obliterated.
To make the job more
They must have been the
difficult,
ones that sunk
the
Britain
rotation
and
of the
Ireland
Earth
and
keeps the
Iceland.
distant target moving. To complicate the problem further, I am traveling at a speed of 300 miles a minute. fast enough to get me from San Francisco to New York in about 10 minutes.
For California's War of
Whether
Independence.
or not I hit the target is determined in about the first 5 minutes of flight. That's how long my engines burn. So that's how long I'm under control.
After that, it's sheer terror for everybody.
During this time, I have to be guided in exactly the right direction to reach exactly the right speed at the instant my engine's cut off and my nose cone is released. Because even if I'm aimed right, if I am traveling 1 foot per second too fast or too slow when my engine's cut off, my nose cone will miss the target by a mile.
And the kids at that orphanage will have a very
So
bad day
you see,
indeed.
Long before I'm fired, scientists and engineers have figured out exactly what I should do to hit the target and have fed the information into the computer.
Which has a whopping
This
50
information
kilobytes of
includes
memory.
Distance, effect of gravity, my engine power, Earth's rotation, many things. And it's all used in guiding me to my target and controlling my speed.
Beginning to dislike
Now,
computers.
I'm going to let you in on just what is done in those first few critical minutes to make sure my nose cone reaches the target.
Background looks like
The
a few
computer
nukes
will
have landed
communicate with
already.
me by radio signals until my engine's cut off.
I wonder what the giant
Okay,
croquet ball
Here
was
we
for.
go. The computer plays out a series of directions which are radioed to me by a communication link in the radar.
The directions are mostly
At the same
kill,
time,
kill, kill.
I send back a radar signal to show just where I am. The part of the communication system I carry along with me
I
might
wore
be
that
compared
costume
to
for
a
Halloween
robot,
once.
which takes action whenever the computer orders a slight turn. The engines are mounted on swivels. When the order comes, they turn me and straighten me out. The engines act as a kind of rudder, steadying me and keeping me on the right path.
Keeping me away from communist
What happens if I
influences.
should get a bit off course? Oh, you remember, I am sending back a steady signal showing just where I am.
But there's a bit of
On the
interference, so
ground,
better
my
evacuate that
changing
school.
position is sent to the computer many times a second. Watch how the computer gets me back on course.
If computers are run by
Computer compares
robots,
everything
what
I
runs
do
robots?
with everything
Computers.
I should be doing.
Ah,
As soon as it discovers the difference, it issues a correcting order.
Or in this case, the tape gets
So we
caught
have
and garbled.
continuous two-way communications many times a second. Orders from the computer are followed by the automatic pilot to keep me right on course.
for MCI headquarters.
In about 5 minutes, I am aimed and going at just the right speed. The computer tells my engines exactly when to cut off and drop away.
After which it'll crash
There goes my
uncontrolled,
first
ironically.
There goes the second.
Oops,
Now
that
I'm
shouldn't
out
have
of the
happened.
gun barrel stage. My nose cone is on its own for the rest of the journey.
Armageddon can no longer be aborted.
Still missed.
They were aiming at a
The system
particularly
with the
aggressive
computer on the
dolphin.
ground is called command guidance. It's one of the most accurate systems ever invented. While we missiles help the armed forces keep the peace, we also serve as rockets helping the National Aeronautics and Space Administration to put satellites in orbit.
Or put satellites in the ocean.
Boosting a satellite is much like launching a missile.
Just without the fun
The
ending.
satellite is just sent on a different mission, out where nature's laws keep it in orbit.
Death Star approaching!
Remember Echo 1? The first satellite used in experimental telephone communications?
Remember how close it was to
Successfully inserted
Saturn?
into orbit by the Bell Laboratories Western Electric Guidance System? So were Explorer 10 and 12.
Bathroom tile
Launched
satellites.
to measure magnetic fields and the flow of energetic particles in space. So was Tyros, which gathers and relays information about the path of hurricanes and violent storms.
But was lost near Mars
And the
somehow.
Bell System's Telstar, the first
Orbital
active
Christmas
experimental
ornament.
communication satellite, was also put into orbit by the same precise guidance system that guides me.
And Santa's sleigh.
Communications can be many things. A long-distance
Everything
call,
but SF Denver and New York
guidance
was
to a
nuked.
missile, a phone call, or a television program being relayed from a satellite.
Or ornament.
Hey, there's the moon. I may even be guided up there sometime in the future.
Let's blow it up.
But no matter where I'm sent, it's nice to know that this precise guidance system will guide me to my destination.
Feel my fury, monopoly regulators.
Well,
Remind me to switch to Verizon if I ever get out of here. They may have shady business practices, but at least they don't have ICBMs.
I like how nuclear annihilation shorts always end with such triumphant music.
San Francisco was also where the call was coming from the film, and the missile aimed at New York. Coincidence? No, conspiracy!
You're becoming irrational, Bogdan. Calm down.
You think I'm crazy? I'll show you crazy.
Lockheed Aircraft studied LSD?
Explains their decades of decline.
Candles are the gateway drug.
Looks like a classy romantic night with LSD.
Does LSD make you wealthy?
I first dropped acid when I was 18.
In a chemistry lab at a jar at the table.
One night. This guy I went to school with was over there and asked me if I wanted to try some acid. I had read about it in the newspapers and heard a few friends talk about it, so I was curious.
A
I was
coronavirus
pretty
poster?
jacked up on marijuana, so I decided to try it, and I dropped it.
And they never
I don't know
forgave
what I
me
was
for
waiting
the mess
for,
and
a
waste.
flash or a rush or whatever. But I kept sitting there waiting, and nothing was happening.
Except for the complete
So
loss
I
of
got
vision.
up and then went to the dresser and put on a pair of pink capris and a green and brown blouse. I thought the colors were beautiful.
But I was horribly, tragically
So we
wrong.
tripped down to Market Street, and I decided to buy a hot dog.
Since this was San Francisco, it cost $10.
I was very hungry, and I had put mustard and ketchup and relish in the usual. And I put the hot dog up to my mouth, and somebody started screaming.
It was a vegan protest group calling me a murderer.
I didn't know what was happening, so I looked up at my friend Terry and said, "Did you hear that? Didn't you hear someone scream?"
This lady has the
He said no.
superpower to make anything she says
I
sound
got
boring.
the hot dog up to my mouth again, and I was ready to bite, and the scream got louder,
Well, she looks happy.
and it hit me. No, it couldn't be. And I looked down at the hot dog, and there was a face on him.
The new troll doll dog.
Eyes, nose, a mouth.
Snout,
I had
actually.
put the ketchup to where it looked like his hair. And he started telling me that I couldn't eat him,
She still looks pretty happy about it.
that he had a wife and 7 kids at home to support. And I stood there with his hot dog and asked Terry, "Do you know this hot dog is talking to me?" And he says, "Nah, let's get out of here." He thought I was just faking.
He had no
And I
idea
told
I'd
him, "Look
taken
at the
LSD.
thing.
He
He's got
thought
a
it was a
face." And he's
placebo.
screaming. And the guy finally looked over, and he got on the same trip that I was on.
I mean, we both got on a bus
And
to
we sat there
Oakland.
carrying on a conversation with that hot dog.
You know, a troll doll may have a higher
Finally,
nutritional
I decided
content
I
than
was
the
just
hot dog.
hallucinating, so I put it in my mouth and bit down.
Unfortunately, it was a really bad hot
Screamed
dog.
so loud that you could hear it all over town, so I had to throw it on the ground and step on it.
I'd hate to imagine her as a first responder.
And I was jumping on this hot dog in the middle of Market Street.
The seller apologized and offered to make me a new one if I'd agree not to leave a bad Yelp review.
I realized that I had murdered it,
And from that day on, I was vegan.
and I took off screaming down the street, scared.
Nobody took any notice, of course, because they see that every day in San Francisco.
Across the town that same day, another LSD study resulted in a missile named Mac being conceived and approved.
Well, folks, that's all for now. Hopefully the new food supply will allow me to vlog more often.
Wait, you've been recording this on your phone? Since when?
We're out of here. Bye.